Announcements. Representative Sherrell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, just want to share a little something with you today. I'd like to say that I regret that I used some very poor judgment in voicing my support of a colleague's bill in Criminal Justice Committee. My aggressive comments were unintended to convey my belief that for the cruelest and most horrendous crimes, a just society requires the death penalty in kind. Although a victim's family cannot be restored when an execution is carried out. A lesser punishment undermines the value we place on protecting life. My intentions was to express my support of families who often wait decades for justice. I sincerely apologize to anyone who may I have hurt or offended. Thank you.
Representative Hardaway.
Thank you, Speaker. You know, I'm one of only 2 African-American men that sat on the House Criminal Justice Subcommittee, myself and Joe Towns Jr. When I heard the statement, I was sad and I was mad at the same time. I couldn't believe that I was hearing that. And of all committees, a justice committee. The irony, a justice committee. What allowed me to hold my tongue at the time, because I try not to speak when I know that my emotions are going to displace my ration and my logic, was Dr. King. Returning hate for hate only multiplies hate. Adding a deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Members, when that statement was spoken, and there's some degree of concern about whether it was simply the statement that was caught on the mic, because, be honest, I heard living tree in within that same statement. There was one clean statement that said tree, and then there was some follow-up with living tree, is what I heard, which made it all the more maddening for me. But I think if we're going to do what grown folks do, and that's to take this opportunity to not only learn and educate ourselves, but to actually get better, then we've got to acknowledge that there is a problem, a cultural problem on the Hill. There are a few, whether it's intentional or not, who come across as practicing a type of quiet bigotry. It does not serve us well as a body. I would challenge all of you who are like-minded, of goodwill, to do as I do, to make an effort to be better behind this. It's not only the representative who spoke those words who needs to work. All of us need to work, but those who are silent in the face of those comments really need to work. It evokes the sordid history of not just Tennessee, but of America, of those days when lynchings were a common practice. When due process was denied to black men whenever a white man decided to. And I don't need to hear anybody talk about it wasn't me, that I wasn't alive back then. Let's have a grown folks conversation. I wasn't alive back then either, but I can assure you that multi-generational trauma still exists, not in only myself, but in all black folks who are in America today. So I'm going to use this opportunity to abide by that statement that Dr. King made. I'm not going to let hate multiply and create more hate, but I tell you, I'm still not over it. I probably would have accepted the apology a lot better if the representative had come to those on the committee, including myself, and offered such an apology. It doesn't seem sincere to me when it's made public, and that means that I have to be public with the representative. So, Mr. Speaker, you and I have some culpability here. We talked a few years ago when you first assumed the speakership of creating some diversity and inclusion and sensitivity, education, you can call it training if you wish, for all of the members of the General Assembly in concert with the Senate, and we'd never followed through. So I'm going to challenge you also. I'm going to challenge William Lambert. I'm going to challenge Jeremy Faison. I'm going to challenge Karen Camper. I'm going to challenge John Ray Clemens as leadership to make that happen so that we all have a better sense of who we are and a better understanding of who our fellow legislators are. I've tried to be a gentleman and scholar since I was elected. But to sit there and have a statement made that only evokes in the minds of anyone who has any sense of history of lynchings, racial lynchings, has pushed me past my point. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to working with you in leadership on how we improve the tone, how we create a better atmosphere with members, how we can better get along as members with other members, and perhaps, just perhaps, we'll be able to follow the words of Dr. King. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only love can do that. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.